It's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randirhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
The president's misconduct cannot be decided at the ballot box, for we cannot be assured that the vote will be fairly won.
Wow. See what I mean? You can really say stuff in like 15 seconds or less. You really can. So the House managers are going to resume this portion of the prosecution. This is abuse of power today. And what they're trying to show are 10 separate items, okay? One, that Donald Trump didn't really want an investigation by Ukraine into the Bidens because how could he? He believed Ukraine was corrupt, even though our Department of Defense certified, that Ukraine had met all of the anti-corruption benchmarks that the United States had set out for it to meet. Okay? Also, we had released funds to them the year before that and the year before that. Donald Trump did. So there was no concern about corruption for real, but he keeps saying that there was. So if in his head he had concerns about corruption, why would he entrust a country with a corrupt justice system to investigate an American citizen? Well, you know, that's kind of a rhetorical question, right? Because obviously you never, ever ask a foreign country to investigate an American citizen. That should not and never does happen in America. The proper venue for investigating an American citizen is somewhere inside our Department of Justice, depending upon where you committed this crime. Okay? And if you need the live assist, if you need documents from the foreign country or whatever it is, that's after you open the investigation for real inside the United States. You might ask them to lend a hand. That did not happen. So that's why he only wanted an announcement. He just wanted to use it as dirt, period. Then we have the portion where he said he was only concerned about the big stuff only. Remember Sondland, and the day after the July 25th call, he calls Sondland, and people are around the dinner table in Kiev, and they say they could hear the president. And after they hung up, Tim Morrison asks him, well, what do you mean? The president doesn't care about the war in Russia. No, Sondland says he only cares about the big stuff. He only cares about the investigation into the Bidens. Then we know that Donald Trump was using his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. Why was he using a personal attorney? Why was he putting Rudy Giuliani on a political errand for him? Know what that means? Know what that means? It means it wasn't for furthering American foreign policy. It was a political errand, and that's what Fiona Hill testified to. In fact, holding aid for Ukraine has never, ever been official U.S. policy, and that is why Donald Trump went outside official channels. And when he did, 6 officials inside the proper channels for diplomacy and for military aid, the Department of Defense, State Department, OMB, 6 officials went to lawyers to say what he's doing is bizarre and improper. Ukraine expressed that they did not want to be involved in American politics. They didn't want to announce an investigation into Donald Trump's political rival. They were scared to get involved in American politics, and for good reason. And then, of course, the July 25th phone call was placed on some high code word protected secret server because he was trying to bury the call. When we got the, quote, transcript, it was a memo. It wasn't the transcript. We've never seen the transcript. And then he stood on TV, and when a reporter, I believe for CNN, asked him, what did you really want Zelensky to do? He said, if they were going to do the right thing, they would open major investigations into the Bidens. And of course, the little detail, he never ever mentions corruption on any phone call with Zelensky. ever. Know why? Because they'd met the benchmarks for corruption that we had set for them. So that's why they wanted documents from DOD. That's what Department of Defense certified, right? That's why they want the State Department emails and Tim Morrison doesn't even have his freaking notes. And I got news for you. Tim Morrison is as right wing as you can get. Sondland is $1 million donor. We all know this. You know what's really interesting? Many of the senators have only heard this for the first time yesterday and today. Isn't that special? They've not heard this whole story. Know why? They rely on freaking Sean Hannity and Fox News. And they have never heard this entire story laid out for them. But for the press, they're running to the cameras going, we knew this, and we just don't care. We just don't care. That's what Rand Paul said yesterday. He said 45 of his colleagues, his Republican colleagues, are ready to dismiss this case. 45. He said there are 5 to 8 that want to hear a little more. And that's where the hope lies, everybody. With the 5 to 8 Republican senators who want to hear a little more. And those would be Lamar Alexander, Mike Enzi, believe it or not, because they're retiring, okay? And Lamar Alexander, his hero, his mentor, was Howard Baker from the Nixon years, okay? A Republican that said, all right, we got a lawless president, this is over, okay? So you've got Lamar Alexander, who's retiring from Tennessee. You've got Mike Enzi, who is retiring. You've got Mitt Romney from Utah, who says he would like to hear from Bolton. You have Murkowski, who's on the fence about witnesses. Susan Collins, who's, I don't know where her head is. I really don't, but she is in trouble in Maine, okay? And these are the 5 to 8 that we have. Tom Tillis has a 37% approval rating in North Carolina. They need the public to support their decisions on this giant issue. And so calling them, not all of the 53, because, you're never going to persuade Ted Cruz or Rand Paul or Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is likely to be defeated, and he might not even care at this point. This might be the biggest thing he's ever done, and the best thing, he's got all his judges scattered around, and he's done everything he can to, and he might just want to leave. He might just want that. But I'm looking at these numbers prior to the actual, presentation began, and it's just unbelievable. Here's the number. 63% of Americans say Trump has definitely done things that are illegal, either during his time in office or while he was running for president. 70% say he has definitely done unethical things. That's almost everybody. That's like 98% want background checks on guns. But you got Mitch McConnell being an impediment to even having a debate about what the American people want. That's why we don't have a health care debate. That's why we don't have an infrastructure bill. It's why we don't have anything that we need. A raise in the minimum wage. We don't have any of these things because of Mitch McConnell. This man is the Grim Reaper. But here we are, all of us pretty much writing, reading from the same hymnal. Everybody's down with this. 60% of America disapproves of this president and know that he is unworthy of his office and would like to see him gone, like now. All right, Adam Schiff is up next when we come back. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.